A woman will never approach you and announce, "I've decided I want you. Do something about it before I reconsider." That's not how female communication operates. But here's what has happened, and this is the part most men completely overlook. Women communicate intention through physical signals that bypass language entirely. I'm talking about a nonverbal vocabulary that women have been using forever to transmit one unmistakable message: I'm open to act. And if you miss these signals, she won't repeat them. She'll simply redirect that energy elsewhere towards someone who's actually paying attention. This isn't a game. It's not manipulation. It's the fundamental way that human beings have communicated desire for thousands of years, long before language ever developed. And the men who understand this language, who can read it fluently and respond appropriately, they never wonder whether a woman is interested. They know. They see it in real time and they act on it with confidence and clarity. Here's something that'll probably frustrate you. Research published in the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior found that women send an average of 5 attraction signals before a man notices even the first one. 5. That means by the time you think she might be interested, she's already been broadcasting it through her body language for the past 20 minutes. And those 5 signals aren't subtle. They're not hidden. They're occurring right in front of you, often within arm's reach. But most men are so focused on what they're going to say next, so preoccupied with trying to impress her with their words, that they completely miss the conversation her body is having with them in real time. And the most revealing signals, they come from her hands, not her eyes, not her smile, her hands. Because hands are the one part of the body most people forget to consciously control. Your face can manufacture a polite expression. Your voice can fake enthusiasm, but your hands betray what's actually happening beneath the surface every single time. You can train yourself to maintain eye contact. You can force a confident posture, but your hands, they operate on a different level. They're connected to the oldest parts of your brain, the parts that react before conscious thought even has a chance to intervene. That's why they're so reliable. That's why they're so revealing. And that's why understanding them gives you an almost unfair advantage in reading attraction. Today, I'm breaking down 8 hand gestures that reveal when a woman has decided she's attracted to you, 8 physical signals that most men walk right past without a clue. And fair warning, once you learn this, you can't unlearn it. You'll start seeing these signals everywhere. At coffee shops, at work, on dates, and the pressure is on because now you'll know exactly when she's chosen you. The only question left is whether you're ready to act on it. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which gestures mean I'm interested, which ones mean escalate now, and which ones mean you've already missed your window. Stick with me through every point because that 8th one is the most critical. And it's the one that separates men who capitalize on attraction from men who go home wondering what went wrong. Where are you watching from? By the way, drop your location below. Welcome to the channel, and I want to know where you all are tuning in from. All right, let's get into the 8 signals. Signal 1, the hair touch with dissent. Let me start with one almost every woman does without conscious awareness. When a woman is attracted to you, her hand will move toward her hair. But here's the detail nobody explains. It's not just any hair touch. There's a specific variation that signals genuine attraction. She'll reach out, touch her hair near the side of her face or behind her ear, and then let her hand slowly descend down to her neck or collarbone. That trailing motion is the key. A woman who's just adjusting her hair will touch it, fix it, and move on. A woman who's attracted to you will let her hand linger. She'll slow the movement down deliberately. She's subconsciously drawing your attention to her neck, which is one of the most vulnerable parts of the human body. In psychology, exposing the neck is a primal trust signal. She's essentially communicating to your subconscious, I feel safe with you. I'm open to what might happen here. Dr. Monica Moore at Webster University spent over 2,000 hours observing women in social environments. And she documented that the hair touch combined with neck exposure was one of the top 3 most reliable indicators of female attraction. That's an enormous amount of observation backing up this pattern. So if she's sitting across from you and her hand keeps floating up to her hair and drifting down to her neck, that's not nervous energy, that's an invitation. And if you don't respond to it, if you just keep talking about work or sports without acknowledging the shift in energy, she's going to assume you're not picking up what she's putting down, and she'll emotionally withdraw from the interaction. The window doesn't stay open forever. It closes quietly, often without you even realizing it's happened. Signal 2. The object displacement. This one is subtle, and most men have zero awareness. Even when a woman starts slowly running her fingers along an object, the stem of a wine glass, the edge of a coffee cup, the corner of a menu, the strap of her bag, she's doing something psychologists call tactile displacement. She wants to touch you, but the social context doesn't allow it yet, so her hands transfer that impulse onto the nearest available object. Think about that for a second. Her body is so drawn to you that it has to touch something just to manage the physical tension building in the interaction. Research from the University of Manchester found that tactile displacement behaviors increase by over 60% when a person is in the presence of someone they find attractive. 60%. Her fingers tracing slow patterns on the rim of her glass isn't boredom. It's barely contained desire expressed through a safe proxy. And here's the part that's almost comical. Most men see this and think absolutely nothing of it. They assume she's just fidgeting. No, she's managing attraction she can't directly express yet. The object is just a stand-in because she can't exactly reach across the table and run her fingers along your forearm 15 minutes into meeting you. Well, she could, but that brings us to the next signal. Signal 3, the arm contact initiation. When a woman deliberately touches your arm during conversation, she's crossed a significant threshold. Physical touch is the most intentional signal in a woman's communication arsenal because it requires her to override her personal space boundaries. Women don't casually touch people they're not attracted to. If she places her hand on your forearm while laughing at something you said, that's not accidental. If she taps your shoulder to emphasize a point, that's not just animated communication, that's her testing the waters. She's checking how you react to her touch. Do you lean into it? Do you pull back? Do you reciprocate? Your response tells her everything she needs to know about whether it's safe to continue escalating. A study from Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin showed that light touch during conversation increased perceived attractiveness by nearly 40% in both directions. Meaning when she touches you, she's not only signaling that she finds you attractive, she's also making herself more attractive to you in that moment. Women instinctively understand this. That light touch on your arm is one of the most calculated and effective moves in the entire female playbook. And yes, I said calculated. Women know exactly what they're doing when they initiate physical contact. If she touches your arm once, she's interested. If it touches it twice, she's very interested. If she touches it 3 times and you still haven't reciprocated or escalated, she's going to start questioning whether you're even picking up what she's communicating. And once she starts questioning that, the attraction begins to cool. Signal 4, the open palm display. This one flies completely under the radar, and it might be the most revealing signal of all. When a woman shows you her open palms during conversation, whether she's gesturing while talking, resting her hands on the table with palms facing upward, or handing you something with a deliberate palm-up presentation, she's communicating openness and trust on a subconscious level. Closed palms, clenched fists, hands tucked under the table or hidden in pockets, these all signal guarded energy, self-protection, emotional distance. Open palms facing you is the body's way of saying, I have nothing to hide, I'm completely receptive to you right now. Evolutionary psychologists trace this back to early human behavior where showing open palms signified the absence of weapons and the presence of peaceful intention. It's a deeply hardwired trust signal. So, when she's sitting across from you talking with animated open palm gestures, she's not just expressive by nature. She's literally opening herself up to you emotionally and psychologically. And here's what makes this even more powerful. Most women do this completely unconsciously. She's not thinking, let me display my palms to signal receptivity. Her body is doing it automatically because her attraction to you has activated a trust response she can't consciously override. This is the kind of signal that you can't fake. It's authentic because it comes from a place that's deeper than conscious thought. Signal 5, the finger graze contact. Now we're getting into territory where she's practically spelling it out for you. If a woman finds a reason to touch your hand, whether she's playfully comparing hand sizes, jokingly reading your palm, or deliberately brushing her fingers against yours when passing you something, she's made her decision. Hand-to-hand contact is one of the most intimate, non-romantic touches that exists. Hands have one of the highest concentrations of nerve endings in the entire body. When her fingers graze yours, both of your brains release a small surge of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. She feels it, you feel it, and she knows you feel it. This is where so many men fumble the moment. She creates this electric point of contact, this tiny bridge between her body and yours, and instead of holding the moment, instead of letting his fingers linger against hers for even 2 extra seconds, the guy pulls his hand away like he touched something hot, and just like that, the spell breaks. The opportunity closes. When she touches your hand, stay there. Don't flinch. Don't rush. Let the contact breathe for a moment. If you can hold that moment with calm confidence, she'll recognize that you're someone who isn't afraid of intimacy, who isn't afraid of connection, and that confidence is often the thing that makes her think, yeah, this is the one. Signal 6, the wrist exposure. The inner wrist is one of the most vulnerable areas of the body. The skin is thin, veins are visible, and historically it's been a point against vulnerability. When a woman exposes her inner wrist to you, resting her arms on the table with wrists facing upward, adjusting her bracelet and letting her wrist linger in your line of sight, or resting her chin on her hand with wrist turned toward you, she's sending a deeply primal signal of trust and receptivity. This comes straight from evolutionary biology. Exposing vulnerable body parts to someone is an unconscious communication that says, I trust you enough to show you the parts of me that are unprotected. Dr. David Gibbons, director of the Center for Nonverbal Studies, has written extensively about how wrist exposure correlates with romantic interest. It's one of those signals that's almost impossible to fake because it emerges from such a deep instinctual place. So, if you're on a date and you notice her wrists are consistently turned toward you, open and exposed, understand that she's offering something significant. She's communicating that she feels safe enough around you to let her guard down completely. And if you see this signal and you don't make a move, if you don't escalate, if you don't at minimum take her hand or create deeper physical connection, you're essentially rejecting that trust. And a woman who feels her trust has been ignored or rejected will never extend it to you again. Signal 7, the mirrored touch response. Here's one that reveals not just attraction, but readiness for escalation. When you touch her lightly, respectfully, testing the waters, and she immediately mirrors that touch back to you, she's not just accepting your contact, she's amplifying it. For example, you touch her forearm while making a point. Moments later, she touches your forearm in the same way. Or you brush her shoulder as you're walking and she leans slightly into that contact instead of away from it. This mirroring is her way of saying, yes, I want this. Continue. Mirroring is one of the most powerful indicators of rapport and mutual interest in nonverbal communication research. When it happens with physical touch specifically, it's confirmation that she's not just tolerating your proximity, she's actively participating in creating connection. Most men don't pay attention to whether their touch is reciprocated, they just hope for the best. But when you start noticing mirroring, you gain absolute clarity on whether you should continue escalating or pull back. If she mirrors your touch, that's a green light. If she doesn't, that's information too. Either way, you're no longer guessing. Signal 8, the sustained hand placement. This is the most powerful signal on this entire list, and it's the one that separates clear interest from polite interaction. When a woman places her hand somewhere on or near you and leaves it there, resting her hand on your knee during conversation, placing her hand on your chest while laughing, putting her hand on your back as you're walking, she's moved beyond testing the waters. She's announcing her intention. Sustained contact requires deliberate choice. A brief touch can be accidental or playful. Sustained contact is a statement. She's creating ongoing physical connection, which means she's comfortable occupying your space. She trusts your proximity, and she wants you to recognize that the barrier between casual and intimate has already been crossed. This is the signal that means I'm ready for you to do something about this. The window is open. Act. And here's the critical piece that ties everything together. These signals have a shelf life. A woman won't keep sending them indefinitely. She'll test the waters with one signal, then another, maybe a third. And if she gets nothing back, no acknowledgement, no reciprocation, no escalation, she'll pull every single one of those signals back like she's reeling in a line. And once they're gone, they're gone. I've watched this happen countless times. A woman puts herself out there with these subtle but unmistakable cues, and the man just sits there either oblivious or paralyzed by hesitation, and eventually she closes off. Her hands go back to her lap, her body angles away. She checks her phone, and the man is left sitting there 10 minutes later, wondering why the energy suddenly changed. The energy changed because she gave you the roadmap and you didn't follow it. The window is real. The clock starts ticking from the moment she sends her first signal. Respond with warmth, confidence, and reciprocated touch, and that window stays open. Hesitate too long, and it shuts. Not with a dramatic slam, with a quiet click. And that quiet click is the worst sound in the world because you won't even realize it happened until it's already too late. So now you know the hair touch that descends to the neck, the fingers caressing objects, the arm contact, the open palms, the finger grazes, the exposed wrist, the mirrored touch, the sustained hand placement. Every one of these is a woman telling you without words, I've chosen you. The only thing left is for you to choose her back. And the way you do that isn't with words, it's with action. A touch returned, a hand held, physical escalation that says, I heard every signal you sent and I'm right here with you. If you made it to the end, drop a comment that says, I watched till the end. I want to see who's actually committed to understanding this and using it, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Every day I'm breaking down communication patterns that most men never learn, giving you real understanding of how attraction is actually expressed. Oh, and one more thing, I gave you 8 hand signals today instead of the usual 7 or 6 most people talk about. That 8th one, sustained hand placement, is what separates ambiguous interest from clear invitation. It's the signal that means the decision has already been made, and all that's left is for you to recognize it and act. All right, go apply this. I'll see you in the next one.